Hi everyone, this is Matt from the Grappling Podcast, and in today's episode, Levi and I go down a few rabbit trails talking about, well, you probably guessed it, Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, and other nerdy topics, but we eventually do get into talking about grappling. The topic for today was around why Levi and I prefer to train NoGi here at Theory Grappling Studio. So if that sounds interesting to you, hop on in. And we're live. We're live.
With new technology.
New tech, and I'm actually worried that I'm going to wreck it, so I'm just going to open
Sponsored
up my other thing.
by Evo, by...
Ambient.
It's not ambient.
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 Isn't it ambient? No, it's ambient. Don't.
Unless your D's and B's are backwards.
Oh my goodness. It's British.
Odd. I'm not a big fan of their Audient logo.
Don't touch it. You're going to stop it.
I'll try not to, but like the back end.
Yeah?
Why is it hyphenated on the back?
That's not hyphenated.
It is?
No, it looks like a trademark.
By Audient. Audient, like odd, and then Eant is hyphenated.
I thought it was ambient. Whoops. There we go, folks.
By Ambient.
Classic me.
We got to make sure if we get sponsored someday, we got to make sure we're like clear on that. Like, sponsored by, and then we just mess it up.
Blah, blah, blah. That's why
you know them.
That's why Levi here does all of our writing copy.
We should have a script.
A script for an episode.
Like when you.
What if we made a story up?
I keep thinking about Wayne's
ChatGPT
World.
make a grappling story up.
Yeah, and then we have to read it.
That'd be funny.
But like a teleprompt? There's laptops that can do prompt programs. So it's like it takes up full screen and it's going down.
iPads have it.
But do they too?
Yeah, you can get it for an iPad.
So Matt, how is your day?
Grappling story.
We
could have ChatGPT make a grappling story, and then you and I teleprompt it as two different characters in that story, and we read it real time, not having read it before.
Maybe we can be like interactive. Like we can take on one character, and then we can type into it like what our character would do
with characters.
And then it'll adjust the story based on our decisions.
Yeah.
We're merging D&D and jiu-jitsu.
I think this would be really funny too because
would we do the audio one maybe? Would we do that again? Do you think you want to type
I think
it?
we'd just read it because it gets kind of clunky reading out itself sometimes.
Sure. It wasn't too bad when I heard the voice last time.
Wasn't too bad. I was just thinking for like its thinking and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, and then won't say my name poorly.
Levi. That could be your character.
Levi.
Yeah. Levi Van Strappen.
It's Strappen. That's the running gag. Where'd the R come from?
So I had a couple pieces of banter.
Okay.
By the way, yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Bartman. But did you know that?
It's funny. It's
bearded
like
man.
It's like I should take that R from Bart and put it in mine, so you could be Batman.
And then you be Strappin'.
I don't want to be Strappin'. Seriously,
you can have that R if you want.
No, I don't want it. I'm putting it someplace else. It means bearded man.
Lever. You could be Lever.
Bearded
be
man.
Good. If your name was Lever and my name is Matt, those are kind of jiu-jitsu.
If I put the L at the end of my name, it's evil.
Evil. Ooh, that's cool. Mine's Tam.
Someone used to call me
Atom.
Atom.
If I put the M at the end of my name, Matt.
Atom.
Atom.
Ivel Nev Nippets. It's my name backwards.
That's awesome.
Yours is Tam Bartman.
Well, actually, my full name is Matthew. It's Matthew Joel Bartman.
Wheatum.
Leauji.
I remember seeing some video that this person could take any word, like you say hippopotamus, and they could instantly like put it backwards.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a skill.
It was a weird skill.
I'm glad I don't have it.
Hippopotamus, and I was like, she couldn't get fooled. It was weird. Like she just like processed and.
What if you gave her supercalifragilisticexpialidocious
backwards?
Sure give it to her backwards though, and then she has to spit it out
that's what Mary Poppins did.
She did it backwards?
Yeah, she did it backwards.
Dang.
Yeah, she like said whatever.
What was the actress's name for that one again? Judy something. She looks like a Judy, doesn't she?
Julie.
Well, it's not Julie.
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews?
Yeah.
Dude.
That was pretty good.
Are you sure? I'm going to look this up.
I think it's Julie Andrews.
I'm convinced, but I was like, are you convinced?
Andrews. That was pretty good.
I'm looking it up. Hold on. Not that I doubt you,
because
I just want to be like.
I think it's Andrews. I remember it's Andrews.
Julie Andrews.
She was in Sound of Music as well.
Julie Andrews.
Fighting the Nazis.
Sound of Music, Mary Poppins.
Did it say Julie Andrews?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I had to look that up, not because I doubted you, but just because I was like, Dang, this is going to be
This goes back
lit.
to Matt saying the other day that we don't have any other specialties, so that was pretty smart.
No, you obviously have that one right there.
Julie Andrews. That's my musical background. I
So-
like musicals. If they do it well, I'm a fan of musicals.
That's cool.
I'm not a big fan of it. Matt sounds supportive of my musical.
Yeah. I got a interesting banter piece here, too. I got a few of them.
Let's hear it.
The first one,
Is it going to take up the episode?
hopefully not.
Okay.
So, in the documentary, The Lord of the Rings, it's not a story, it's a documentary. It actually happened.
It took me a
and-
second. I'm like, I've seen behind the scenes a lot.
But no, so in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship
Yeah.
of the Ring, in like the final boss fight, that's like so cool. It's like that awesome one, and Aragorn's fighting that big Uruk-hai. Mm-hmm. It's like the best fight in the whole movie. It's awesome.
Are you going to give me like a special, like, did you know this was a real thing? And I'm going to say, yeah, I know it was a real
the
thing.
knife thing?
Whoops, sorry.
You knew about the knife? I thought the knife.
Tell everybody the story.
Okay,
guys.
so there's this part where the Uruk-hai throws the knife at Aragorn, and he freaking hits out of the air with his sword.
Yep.
And it's so fast. It's
Yep.
like real speed and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was always in awe of that, of how good it looked.
It looked very realistic.
And the thing is, because it was realistic, because it was a metal knife.
Yeah, I can't
The actor who was playing the Uruk-hai, he was so done up with so much cosmetics, he couldn't see very well.
Yeah.
And he apparently threw the wrong thing. And he threw it full speed, and he threw it in a spot he wasn't supposed to, and it was
Which was his head.
directly at Aragorn's head. So Viggo Mortensen, just thinking on his feet, freaking slashed that dagger out of the air. And the
Yeah.
reason it looked so good is because it was good. It was a real deal. I'm sure
Everyone
it wasn't
paused,
sharp.
like, let's keep that in there.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't sharp, but it was pointy, and it was still metal, and that would have hurt to get hit in your face.
Do you know the Balrog wasn't supposed to be in the movie? The Balrog showed up and Ian McKellen took care of it.
What? It wasn't supposed to be in the
Just
movie?
make a joke, like a real
Oh.
like Ian McKellen is so good. He just like, all right, guys, I'm going to handle this right now.
Oh, gotcha,
this
gotcha.
real Balrog. We're fighting the scenes of
Yeah, I would
this
say that scene's
dwarven.
dope. I'm actually reading the books finally.
Moria.
I'm finally reading the books.
Do you want to hear another snippet of? You might know this one already, but you know that scene where they're tracking the hobbits and they come to the pile with all of the the
Yeah.
bones and things like that, and he gets all mad and like kicks a
Yeah,
helmet.
I
and
knew
he's
that.
like,
I know this one. I knew this one.
That like he broke his toe.
Yeah, he actually broke
Yeah.
his toe.
There's not too many other.
I got
ones like
another
that.
one for you. Did you know the guy who plays Boromir? I forgot his name. He's super cool. He dies in like every movie.
He's Boromir.
Guy who plays Boromir.
Oh yeah, yep. Oh,
He didn't want to fly in the helicopter to do all the shots on the mountains.
Oh, so he like walked.
He
or
hiked
something?
up 4
it, yeah.
hours every day. Hiked up, did his shots, hiked back down.
I'm not surprised by that.
And that's so cool because he was like, I felt like an adventure. God, there's
Do you know,
never
do you know
going
a
to be
huge majority of the writers of Rohan were women
Really? Interesting.
because they couldn't have enough. They couldn't find enough men that were that skilled for riding horses, so they done them up in beards. And all that
That's
stuff.
awesome.
So it was like a ton of women doing that. It's
That's
like,
cool.
Heck yeah.
That I think we'll never see a movie that well done in our
Never
lifetime.
again.
Never again.
It'll never happen.
It was the perfect
Ever,
storm
ever,
of
ever.
great, amazing story. They stuck to the source material to the degree that they could.
They had the ability to do that with the Rings of Power.
Yeah, and they screwed that up.
Messed it up. I thought I remember hearing a story
$60 million an episode.
that it was
This podcast is not about grappling.
did Jeff Bezos, that his son heard he was doing that, and it was this popular story. Like his son said, like, "Don't mess this up."
Oh man, and
like,
he did.
Don't make this. And it's like, yeah, and he did.
Dad, I'm never going to
It's
talk
just-
to you again.
It was a good mix of, like obviously soundtrack.
saying the
was VR.
originals?
The originals
Yeah,
were
the original.
soundtrack, and then
Visuals.
visuals, and the appropriate
Story.
amount of CGI. Like
Yes.
they built a real sized ent for the
that's
hub. Like it was
cool.
an actual real thing for them to climb and move. You know,
I feel
It
like
was
we could breathe like that with our headphones
I'm
on.
saying with what?
The way they breathe, they're like so labored, you know.
Do you know the person who he's like one of my favorite I don't know the Ent's name. I hate that.
Treebeard.
Yeah, Treebeard? Is it Treebeard?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Sides. I'm on nobody's sides because nobody is on my side.
Yeah, I love the ends.
It's the same voice actor
dope.
as Gimli.
Same actor, you
Same.
should say.
Oh yeah, same actor. So he voiced
That's cool.
Treebeard.
Oh,
like once
that's
you hear it
awesome.
now it's like, oh yeah, I can hear that.
That's so cool. Okay, before we nerd out too far, we should probably talk about some grappling. I had even more banter, but
This is gonna be like a tight episode though. 'cause
Yeah.
we're testing on some new equipment, so we didn't want to make it too long in case it was.
on the fritz.
Where is that right now?
I don't know.
You know what I'd like? I'd like
Oh,
like
9 minutes.
a very big visual of our time.
Right there.
I think that's why we need a director.
We need a producer.
Is that what a producer does?
Maybe.
What does the director do?
A director would tell us what to do. We don't want to be told what to do.
No.
We need someone to...
We're
the talent here.
I mean, you think of Lord of the Rings, they're just doing... I think they were just filming, like you said, the documentary. Them doing everything. A wizard should know better. Saruman. Oh, it's so good. That was such a good impression. I was not expecting that.
Okay.
And then it's like, I went to where was it? It was like many years ago. I went to like an indoor water park that you're going this weekend, right?
Oh, the Wilderness, yeah.
Yeah, and there was like there was a part of the I think it was like kind of your Wisconsin Dells or whatever, or Stevens Point, and they would fill up this huge bucket of water and they would dump every once in a while. And they would go there, release the river. And then also just...
Those buckets are funny. Watch those kids fly, including my own. Okay. So today's topic when it comes to grappling is... I
wish I could roll my R's.
You can't?
A little bit.
A little bit. Try again. Don't commit so hard to it.
I hate it because there's a secret code for Danish people to prove you're Danish. Like there's a phrase you have to say.
Don't say it or else you'll give it up.
Most people know it. But the hard part of it is like you have to be able to roll your R's. So it's like local med flu. Local. I can't do the R rolling. It's like local, like red berries with ice cream or something like that.
Rocal?
That sounds too Spanish.
Roco.
Yeah,
hey.
It's like local.
Viva la Roco.
Anyways.
So our today's topic is going to be why Levi and I personally are fans of training NoGi. And really, the big thing here is not to throw shade on the gi, because who knows, maybe someday we'll train the gi again.
Come on,
we think all grappling is cool, but we personally have gravitated more towards NoGi. Not that we started doing NoGi, we actually both used to do gi more. And we're just going to give about 3 reasons, back and forth, like our typical format, of why we feel training in the gi, or NoGi, sorry, training NoGi is right for us.
I will say, though, no matter how much Matt loves training here at Theory, I think if there was a sumo place that opened up, that would be gone.
That would be gone. I would just add it to my training regimen.
Oh, okay.
Traditional sword fighting, sumo wrestling, and jiu-jitsu.
Dude, sword fighting's around here already.
I know. I just don't have time for that.
Fox's Den or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
That'd be fun for like a one-off, a birthday party.
I think it'd be fun to
birthday party. I'll swing swords.
This is one of those things where if I won the lottery, and it was just, I don't even play the lottery, but let's pretend I somehow played it and won it.
And you won it, yes.
I would pretty much fill my day full of doing things like that. Like it'd be like, at 9 o'clock I'm lifting weights. At noon I go do my sword fighting, and then I go to jiu-jitsu. I
wanted to have some like big event, like was it the big obstacle course event?
Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, it was like a Ninja Warrior, but it was gonna be like a battlefield thing where like people would have like foam swords and shields and like
there are those things.
That would be fun. Like a group of people.
Didn't I send you that video of that one thing in Canada that's a week long?
But that's like
they have a straight up fight.
So maybe that's like LARPing. Does LARPing have
there's different levels of LARPing?
Bows?
Yeah, there's bows and arrows.
Really?
They're just not very strong.
Firebolt.
They got magic too. You could throw stuff at people, but then you have to play by the rules.
And all that.
Yeah, there is. There's also, I think I talked about it, there's battle heavy too. That's like straight up wearing armor. Real, like you got swords that aren't sharp and you are fighting each other.
There's got to be a point system with it, right?
Yeah, because you have to have people
what?
Die somehow, like you can't just like, yep, I'm still fighting. It's like fighting a 3-year-old,
Make it dramatic.
But anyways, so...
why we like NoGi.
Yeah, why we like NoGi. Because it resembles wearing armor.
I would say in the beginning, so I started my grappling experience, I think Matt started with his as well, with the gi. We were both.
Indeed. Well, mine was a bit of both.
So you split your efforts? I mean, mine was like 95% gi and 5%
Mine was a couple days a week of gi and then 1 day a week of no gi.
Yeah, so similar. It seems like most gyms, I would say majority of gyms that train the gi, it seems like that's the percentage. It's like 90-10 type of stuff. There's obviously some gyms that get a bit lesser, especially MMA gyms. It kind of spreads out even more. But I started with just the gi, and every once in a while we'd mess around with no gi, but it was getting to, I had a one experience actually with a friend who was a halfway decent wrestler. He was also a pretty big guy, so I was rolling with him one time, and he's kind of newer to grappling, but he didn't put on the jacket that much, and he's like, why don't we just roll without it? And I went, Okay. Like, I didn't think too much of it, but a lot of the stuff I was doing with them, suddenly I was realizing that there's no handles. It was much more difficult to control them and break down postures and get inside space without having that available to me. So I think that was sort of an interesting, enlightening moment to go, well, I've experienced the gi now till being a brown belt, I should say. And I was like, why can't I do that much with NoGi? Like, it seems it should be comparable. So that's kind of where it started, me saying I wanted more NoGi training. But then that changed with the studio. But so you, I guess, were very similar, right? Like you said, you had 1 day a week NoGi. Did you do that often?
Yeah.
It was pretty consistent that you'd switch back and forth.
Yeah, it was like every Wednesday or something.
So were you did you find one more interesting than the other? That when you're doing them both, or were they pretty even for you? Like, oh, we're just doing it without the jacket today. And
yeah, I liked them all. Like, I was pretty like agnostic about it. I didn't really like one more than the other. I did notice my game did tend to fall apart though when I went to the NoGi a lot more.
Did you do NoGi pants? Well, sorry, NoGi with gi pants.
Just wear shorts.
Oh, you did shorts.
Yeah,
okay.
just shorts. Yeah. Sometimes I guess we would also, if we were just like Dylan and I would be like, yeah, let's take our jackets off.
Yeah,
and we would just roll like that.
That was kind of similar. Like when we did the gi. That if it was no gi, it was just like I still have my gi pants on. I really liked Eddie Bravo's way that he did no gi. He has the gi pants and the rash guard. I was like, that makes sense. But then once I found out more of his game was because he's very half guard centric.
Yeah, and he's very offensive.
So having the pants add that more friction to it, like, helped a lot.
Less likely to get like scuffs on your legs and stuff too.
Oh, that too. I mean, I guess it's similar. I've never seen have a short sleeve rash guard.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was like younger, I think a couple times, but these days I don't see that. But then when we had the studio here, in the beginning, I did a lot of the gi, and then I eventually tried to do it where I split it 1 week gi, 1 week no gi, and eventually I just made the decision of just doing everything no gi, mostly because I had not seen a local gym as well be very no gi centric. There's obviously gyms that had, like Matt was saying, like once a week or maybe twice a week or something like that. But I thought it was interesting to have a space to be unique, to say we're going to focus a lot on NoGi. And again, in the beginning, focusing on it, it was interesting because I was so used to, like, my baby was cross collar chokes. Like, that was my thing. And so now suddenly I didn't have that in front of me. It was me having to develop almost a whole new game because now the sleeves and pants weren't really there. So, but when I transitioned from gi to NoGi and did NoGi, Matt can tell you, like, most of the nights that I trained, I had like gi pants on still and did the rash guards. And then it wasn't until I switched to the shorts, or like the thigh high shorts.
Yeah.
Where suddenly I was like, whoa,
getting shorter.
My mobility like just went up a ton with
Your
my legs.
sensitivity too.
Yeah, like it felt a lot better without having those baggy pants on to do. Like, I felt a lot faster with it. And then once I felt that and got attuned with it, I just, didn't go back. Really, it just felt good. Like, once you have some good tools, now it feels okay.
It was interesting too because the group here just gravitated to wanting to do NoGi more too. I remember when you shot me a text and you're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about just changing it exclusively to NoGi." And I was like, "That's cool. That could be neat, you know." And thinking about it, I was like, almost everybody here wants to do NoGi more too. So it just kind of. It was interesting how there was that pull from the member side, but it wasn't like voiced necessarily.
It's difficult because I know in the beginning, like, having some of the gi-centric stuff was to help bring a little of attraction for current players in the Valley because how uncommon it was to do NoGi. I didn't want to jump in right away and say, hey, we're going to do NoGi, and then everyone going, I'm not really too comfortable with that, so they don't want to jump in and suddenly have these newer people that are getting efficient with NoGi, and now having these people who are, swimming in different waters, I should say, and then versus the comfort that they're used to with the gi. But it became a slow transition to where, honestly, when new people show up, I can't remember the last time I had a conversation. Someone's going like, "Oh, so where's the gi?" Like, nobody ever really asked. Nobody asked. Well, whether someone's like coming here as a visit. I would assume that most people have looked up my place and recognized. Like, I can't remember last time I had someone pop in and they had the gi with them, and they went, "Oh, I didn't."
Actually,
know this
the
was
Invitational was the last time I can remember.
The Invitational was the last time we had people, but those were purposeful matches with the gi.
That's true.
I said that so much afterwards where I was like, the gi now, when that happened, looked so out of place when the percentages changed.
Yeah.
Like imagine having a full tournament here where it was like, let's say 23 matches were the gi, and now suddenly someone pops on with no gi.
Yeah, it looked really
it
different.
looks different, right? It looks like more like a wrestling thing.
I think it's cool that you do both, though. I like that. It's the expression of grappling.
And again, a lot of people enjoy that element of it, and I guess that's kind of why we're discussing it, because it's not necessarily to try and hate on any one of them, but it's like, I think definitely when you start looking at the gi, it just presents different elements. I think whenever I've explained it to people, in the chess world, there's two main ways people play chess. There's kind of the standard way that there's, maybe a general time limit, there's no time limit. And then the other one's speed chess, that you only have 2 minutes each to make your moves. They're both chess, but no one talks about it.
Is it 2 minutes total or 2 minutes per
2 minutes
turn?
each. Like when I go, I hit this button.
You say for the whole game?
The whole game.
You
Like
get 2
we
minutes.
each only got 2 minutes total.
That's cool.
So as they're running down the clock, like you have to like move right away, but like you
That's cool. I like that.
when they hit their
the
side,
flipper.
it
Yep.
pops the other side up.
Yep.
So you have to move and pop yours and it pops theirs. It's a beautiful invention. But you never hear crossovers of people saying, I'm good at this, so I'm also good at this.
Interesting.
So it's the same game we're playing, but it's a different format. So there's world champions in speed chess and world champions in
It's like that
regular
with climbing
chess.
too. Some people are like, the guys who can do the crazy hardest climbs didn't win the Olympics last year, is what I heard.
There's
There's
Olympics for it?
Yeah, it was the first year last year.
I thought that was like, I remember seeing like speed.
Yeah, they
climbs.
did speed climbing there, which is different than you can have as much time as you want. You have a very difficult climb.
And then there's climb without gear. Right?
Yeah, then you got
Free
crazy
solo?
Yeah, you got crazy guys like Alex Honnold.
Yeah, it's a monster. But
So-
but you don't see too much of that. But in gi and no gi, because it is they're like siblings basically. It feels like if I take the jacket off, like I'll be just fine in no gi.
Which is true to some extent.
There's elements to it. I remember back in the day when I listened to Marcelo a lot, and he was saying he always wanted to build a game that no matter who you went against or gi or no gi, it would be the same.
Yeah.
Which I get maybe like a core aspect to it, but it's like I think Danaher said that like why not take advantage of the lapels and the sleeves? Like
Yeah,
if I went back to the gi, I would be going hard into like lapel guard and every which way to maximize leverage using your pants and using your jacket.
Yeah.
100%. Why would I not use those tools that are available to me at that point? But
That makes sense.
yeah,
So I got a couple other thoughts on this too.
let's go for it.
First off, one of the reasons I like to train exclusively NoGi is I believe in specialization for skill development.
Specialization.
And I my life is not formatted in a way, and that's okay, that I could really do a lot more jujitsu. It's just, I got like 4 days a week I can get
Sure.
in. That's just the reality of it. And I'm okay with the trade-offs because I have other things in my life that I enjoy, my family. I like to work. I got a job I got to work at and stuff like
Matt's
that.
lying. He wants to get more into woodworking.
And I also do
He
like
wants to
woodworking.
Build a boat. I was talking
I'm
with
not
my
gonna build
brother.
a boat.
I wanted us to have like a project when he used to live in Sheboygan because he had some little extra land. I'm like, we should like do a brother project and make like a Viking boat,
That'd be cool though.
like
You can turn it
overlapping
upside
planks
down.
and like because he's literally he was up the hill from Lake Michigan. Like we could have walked that thing down
That'd be cool.
and launched it.
Bending wood is a time. Well, actually, you wouldn't bend for that. You need huge logs to cut your curved pieces of.
Yeah, the science behind it is amazing. Behind their boats, it was
Yeah.
like they were planked on top of, like layered on top of each other with the water pressure, and it allowed it to be shallow.
Yep. So if you
So they can go across the seas, and they can go like in very shallow,
beautiful thing.
lands. It was like really cool.
But I think that if you want to be good at you're better off not spreading your attention and focus.
Sure.
I think you'll actually reach higher levels faster. It's being specialized.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. I think you can't argue that because, Gordon Ryan doesn't really train in the gi often. He does sometimes, he says. But,
I was going to get into that same kind of mentality that some people feel like they can kind of excel at both. Mm-hmm.
some people do.
There's rare individuals like Nicholas Marigali. He's training a lot with Gordon Ryan now, and he's kicking butt with NoGi as well. Like he was at ADCC and things like
Yeah.
that for someone who was like the gi focused champion for the longest time. But like I said, sometimes it takes a certain individual. But what I was going to say was, imagine taking a competition like Grappling Industries and see everyone that competes in gi, everyone that competes in no gi, and to do some crazy analysis to be like the people who focused on the gi and no gi, like total amount of classes for each or focuses, and see if that swayed when they went up against someone who switched it completely. Like they're very no-gi focused. Like would they still beat those people who are very no-gi focused in their same division?
No.
First, right? That's what I'm saying. Like I would imagine those stats would show it differently. So when you're talking about specialization and excelling in things, it's like, I think when we see our competitions, I'll probably be biased here and I think I'm right, but I think there's a much more of a shift or much more of a percentage these days of gi competitors in a place like Grappling Industries than there is no gi. The hard part is that the competition is structured to where the gi is very much the focus of like the main part of the day. Like chronologically, it's like near the beginning, and
except for the absolutes.
The absolutes is a rare one. It's like they kind of jump that in right away, but it's like one division and it's small. It's like I think they feel fine with that. But no gi definitely goes after the gi. It doesn't mean like at exact same time, but there's kind of like a push towards the end,
which is a bummer. It's
so
because also people who drop out. Like at the last tournament I was at, I actually got like shafted 2 matches because of that. One guy, because one of the guys I was supposed to verse pulled out.
Oh, that's right.
So then I got an automatic walk-off win or whatever it's called.
We were watching the gi, right? Was that him in the gi?
Yeah, there was a guy in the gi. And then he ended up just not showing for the no-gi.
Yeah.
So that means that I got 2 matches instead of potentially getting 4 because it would have been against him, and then we would have gone into the semifinals and finals, which would have been really cool. But I was okay with it.
Because I think once you sign up for gi, you can, I think it's a very small price to do no-gi as
like $20
well,
or something.
Something like that. So I think some people kind of jump on it to see if like...
Or maybe they get hurt.
Or if they feel like the time is good or they did well or something like that. But it's like you said, I've seen more people pull off no-gi than the gi itself.
You know what? I have another thought on that.
What's that?
With us training no-gi, I feel, knock on wood.
Oh no, this is fake wood so that it holds no bar.
There might be real wood in it.
It might be. This is like IKEA wood. It's like, this is just dreams and hopes
cheers.
right here. There you go. We're good.
Way less injuries. So I've noticed from watching at Grappling Industries too, the majority of injuries were from the gi. Now that might just be a function of there being more competitors in the gi, but here's my hypothesis.
That's right. I didn't hear about any. Or
Yeah,
I didn't see any. That's
because you have a rope around your neck, which is essentially connected to your spine.
It's giving me shivers, Matt.
Yeah,
I remember seeing.
Yeah, I've seen 2.
Or hearing it. It was hearing it too.
I saw 2 neck injuries at 2 different tournaments, and they were both in the gi from the exact same move, where they end up getting a hard snap down with the neck. Using the lapels, someone just ripped them down. And if you think about it, you can't do that to someone in no-gi because you can't establish that strong of a grip. So the way I think about it is if you're running and you fall, you can get hurt, right? Totally can. It happens.
Yeah.
If you're driving and you jump out of the side of your car on the highway, you're definitely getting hurt, right?
Unless you tuck and roll really well.
Tuck and roll over your shoulder.
If you're like keto master.
But it's because our bodies aren't meant to deal with that speed because that's an artificial component added in.
Yeah, makes sense.
So with no-gi grappling, the way I kind of think about it, this is at least just my framework, is like you can't grab someone hard enough usually unless you have like a really good grip, which is also really hard to get.
Sure.
To be able to apply massive amounts of force. Versus with the gi, you can actually be in a defensive on-the-run position, still get a grip, and still pull someone hard.
Sure.
And so I actually think, funny enough, it's actually no-gi that's safer than gi. And also your fingers don't get jacked up as much. You stub them sometimes. There's still injuries, I popped my ankle from being dumb. But, I think in general it is a safer...
Yeah, I would say some people would think like no-gi maybe because of the introduction of more leg locks.
Yeah, but that's a rule thing.
So, okay, so on top of that though, the top is that the gi has more friction and slows things down way more. Versus no-gi, there's a higher chance, like it's much more difficult to control someone in no-gi than it does the gi. Mm-hmm. I don't know where the arguments come from when people say that with no-gi it's simpler to hold people versus the gi because there's all these handles and they can like counter do stuff to you. It's like, I think on the top when you have extra handles and leverage points, it's much easier. And now you're not dealing with less space, where the gi fills up a lot more space between people. Like you've got to put your leg pants in front of your lapel jacket and their belt. Like it's much more difficult. And then you're getting your knee caught in like lapels and all this kind of stuff. Like it's way more congested.
It's your hands get caught in people's clothing.
And I'm not saying there isn't like a technical exchange as far as grips and, and changing things.
It's a super fun art.
But it's I just saw the quote from Gordon Ryan the other day that he was talking about how hand fighting is such a strong part of his game that he says he has to like make good grips and know where he's going immediately afterwards to kind of climb the rope and beat people. But it's in the gi, you can really slow things down and move, where in NoGi you have to capitalize on space creation and filling space. You can't just like take your time a little bit with it. I mean, passing the guard in NoGi is much more difficult than the gi. And more offensive from the guard. Like the guard in gi, I can grab your pants, I can grab your sleeve, I can sit down and play spider guard or Delahiva guard or X guard or Dela X or whatever. Like there's a lot more things I can do, and I can get away with not being the best takedown artist, versus a lot of stuff we saw at Grappling Industries was very poor takedown options. I mean, I know NoGi as well has some difficult, but it was like you were just saying, the snaps. There's a lot of like snapping down, and like I can't imagine them doing it in their own gym and be like, all right, we're gonna work some standing stuff today, and people are just trying to viciously snap each other down, was because the one or two tactics they tried just wasn't holding up the snuff, and they just resorted to snapping.
There's another way to think about it.
Sure.
You're going in it. We were talking about medieval battle before, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going into medieval battle, and
it's only with that voice.
Yeah, medieval battle. What does your armor look like? Are you going to have freaking horns all over it and stuff? Or I don't know about you, but I would prefer armor where it's as like glancing as possible. Everything that hits me glances off. I don't want people to be able to establish a connection on me.
This is war, Matt. This is not efficiency. You're going for intimidation. What do you think of the samurai masks? Like they're demons coming out.
I would still do a samurai mask, but like my armor, though, I'm not putting horns and things like that on it. I don't care about that.
Yeah, that's
ruthless efficiency. I think that could
save that for another episode.
Yeah.
But
that's what NoGi.
What if Jiu-Jitsu had
NoGi is the ruthless efficiency armor in my head.
Hey, that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah, it's slippery. Things glance off.
Yeah,
it's not based off of an intimidation game.
So that's kind of where I get to the point as well with control, because the confidence that people have going from gi to NoGi.
People look way bigger in their gi too.
What's that? Look bigger?
Yeah, people look way more.
I remember my mom made a comment about a friend I knew. Thought like, oh, he's way slimmer than I thought, because she only saw pictures of him in the gi.
Oh, really?
And it was like, yeah, it just makes you a lot bigger.
Yoked.
But it's the control, because you'll rarely ever hear a NoGi player say they'll do just fine in the gi, because now suddenly there's all these handles that they're not used to utilizing, and the other person's very accustomed to using the handles. So why would you feel confident to come into a world that now suddenly you got handles and grips that, like if you're passing a certain way, now they can just reach up and choke your neck.
Yeah,
that's not like
feels like cheating.
Well, it's not like it's not like a realistic thing. Versus gi to NoGi, they go, well, it's just less handles, and you've got less handles too. So it's like, what would be the difference? It's the efficiency of using those few things, on top of the fact that now with these extra handles, it's not as easy to pin and hold somebody down. Mix that on top of extra space for creation, mobility, moving around. When you're a mount, there's no cross collars anymore. Now you have to focus on getting limbs away or going for necks. Like there's a lot of different tactics that come into holding people and controlling people without having the gi present. So it's an interesting added difficulty, even though, like Matt said, there's no armor. There's no additional armor. It's just there's equal complexity without the gi and with the gi. I'm going to say that. Like they both present their own unique problems, but don't get the confidence that you can trade over, say, well, you play speed chess. It's just chess. I'll pop over. It's like, no, there's things you're playing against the clock, or a speed chess person going against someone who's got time to let things, sit a little bit and think, versus kind of sitting and thinking on the fly very quickly. Like,
I wonder if NoGi would be the speed chess.
Oh, it is 100% speed chess.
100%. And then the gi is more of the traditional chess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a neat way. So here's another interesting topic for NoGi, because I'm kind of throwing some out and then we're both riffing on them.
Yeah.
So where you actually were just alluding to this, where there's like a simplicity to it that's kind of nice. I personally enjoy the simplicity of NoGi because I find that all the different spider guards and, lasso guards and all these other types of guards and all these little pal tricks, I honestly just got kind of sick of them. I was just kind of like, I'd rather let's just strip this off to the basics. I'm not saying those aren't cool and they're not effective in the gi, because they obviously are, or they wouldn't be around. So they're totally cool. For me, like when I play an RPG, like I usually like to set up my guy to like need as little like anything as possible, right? Yeah. Can I build a guy who I don't really have to upgrade my armor or don't even have to wear armor. I don't have to do anything else extra, but I can still enjoy and play the game and progress through it and become formidable. And wearing the gi felt like I was playing more like Diablo 3 or, where you're like constantly like every 5 seconds you're getting new armor. Every 5 seconds you're getting, and you're like, is this better than my last armor? Like that whole process. I just have grown to just not enjoy that, even though I know some people might say, well, that's innovation. It's like, yeah, and that's cool for them, but I prefer the style of NoGi because the innovation is more in these like little minute details on the same topics.
Well, that's kind of similar with the leg locks in NoGi. Like there's a lot of nuance, like even the position we were playing last night.
That foot thing was cool.
Yeah, but it was like just that innovation of like in inwards.
To the listeners, that foot thing was cool.
Yeah, it stopped it was a spider guard with using your feet. It was weird.
Yeah, and like Lewis frickin' had that thing figured out.
He found a way to pinch off our blood supply.
I was tapped he choked my arm.
I had a tap with that.
Yeah.
But there's innovations with that. But it's similar. You'll see a lot of people who are even no gi or don't play the gi and get thrown into the leg entanglement world and all these little things, and they're going like, it's too much. Like, I remember Hunter's like one of my younger guys in here. He's a good friend of mine, and he
was actually on one of our previous episodes.
Was he?
Yeah, we interviewed Hunter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry,
dude,
I blinked right there. But I loved when he said with triangles, where he's like I'm too old to learn more triangle like adjustments. Like he was very set on the traditional way, and I was telling him how angled and shins and all that. And he's like,
something
funny? That's too much.
He's the one who taught me the angle thing.
Yeah, well now he gets on top of it, but it was just this joke of like you're learning things more versus like, cool, I understand how the game works, but like you said, suddenly it's like, hey, I'm doing this like Della X thing, and you're like, oh, like I got something else now I have to be concerned about, and it's like you're always having to dive deeper and deeper, almost like you're playing catch up all the time. But the hard part is that you'll eventually run into someone who understands the nuances of things, like you said, the micro details more and more. But I would say when you're saying about the expansiveness, I think a lot of it comes down to what you're saying. Like the top game, I think, is very nuanced. Or sorry, it's very like, I shouldn't say simplified, but it's like half guard, side control,
yeah, it
mount,
is simplified.
Back control.
I'm going to make a D&D reference.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hope I can understand.
The gi is being a wizard. NoGi is being a sorcerer.
I approve. That's fine.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It totally is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, because the wizard, right? Like, they can learn tons of spells. There's lots of options. You can respec your guy over and over again and whatnot. Sorcerer, you go deep with a couple things.
I can't believe coming out of the D&D example, but I'm going to come back to a martial arts example. The whole Bruce Lee quote of like practicing one kick 1,000 times, right? Versus 1,000 kicks once.
What about the guy who knows 2 kicks 500 times? Or
you want to split your difference?
Yeah. I wonder if that's actually the more superior method,
Probably good for like triangles and arm locks, like you can kind of
you got to be able to combo things.
But I think just that nuance, like I said, Matt said about the micro details of the major game, those aren't too hard to go into, but when you start developing full systems, like Matt was saying, the Delahiva X and like these lapel guards, like people are like, oh, like this is a whole new innovation and adjustment. And I think that's why most people have a tough time. And I honestly, off the top of my head, don't know the nuances of the leg lock world in the gi, like what belts are appropriate for each, straight ankle lock or toe holds and things like that.
I don't know the rules for that.
I just know that there's a lot of people who, and this is not a bad thing, so I'm not trying to diss on anybody, but who enjoy coming to jiu-jitsu 2 or 3 times a week. They hang out with their friends. They play their games their coaches are showing them and kind of exploring by themselves. They go to competition every once in a while. And then in comes some punk that decides that he's
Some young
really enjoying the leg lock game and is doing all these things on them, and they're not understanding these nuances, like, of course it doesn't feel fun. But the appropriate response is going, well, if you don't want to get leg locked, then learn leg lock defenses.
Yeah.
But it's easier sometimes to say, well, this just isn't part of our culture or our rule sets or whatever. And then you can kind of like go sit at your own table at the lunch room, but you never have to deal with that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of one of those things. I actually got an interesting, what's a good way to put it? Like thought process when people were talking about having a negative point when you sat down pull guard. Because in the beginning, I was like, why does it matter? Like, I'm sitting down and deciding to play guard. Like, it should not matter. And the realization I got was if you sit to the ground, you're robbing a person, let's say Jordan, 2 points of potential.
Which, if you're trying to be strategic about it, that actually might be a good idea to go, I'll take the negative
I'll take the 1 point.
Actually, Rob Bernacki does that. I think he has pulled guard a few times going like, I know I'm going to take the hit here. But this, I know I can't win the stand-up, so I'm better off doing this and making up the points.
I think we have to find out what the rules is. Like, let's say, excuse my words. Let's say I just sit, like slap bump. I sit. I'm scooting towards this person. Would the refs tell me I have to stand up?
What if you slip?
What if I slip? Whoops!
Oh, I'll throw a banana out there and just fall on down.
Make it seem like the person did my keto thing to me. Like grab the one. Oh my goodness! I don't know what you did there.
Get there too, then though.
That's funny. But
that's funny.
Fall through. But to have something like that to sit down, so I get the tactic of that.
But diving for an Imanari roll, is that
that could still be no. I mean, that would be a takedown.
If you pull if you go for an Imanari, they pull out, but you're on your butt now.
Yeah, then
you engage?
You can keep engaging then.
So why you could just always go for an Imanari?
I guess you could.
You have to make contact. You have to make contact with their foot before you roll.
It was just interesting because I get the whole idea. It's like, why would you sit if you were confident in the standing exchange?
Well, you wouldn't.
What? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting, it's conceding the fact that you most likely would have taken me down right now.
Which is smart. You don't head attack an army where they're strong,
Right. So, but then taking down, saying, then that means that person would have gotten 2 points on you.
So they get the one anyways.
So then you take the one.
I think that's fair.
So it made more sense the more I thought about it like that. Like, okay,
that's
to have the one.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's cool.
Well, I just thought about that right now with the two people. Like, if someone's better than the other. Because, like, if you're, I get it. Like, but... Because, my brain's going. My brain's breaking right now.
You could be really passive aggressive. They sit, you sit down, stand up, sit down again. Just be like, that's
Matthew,
right.
If
Give
you
you
could,
a little bit of an
if
extra.
You could dictate your match coming into it, and you had, let's say a reasonable success rate. Let's say like 90%. You could finish this person right now, and this person's exhausted, and we're telling you, Matt, you can decide either which way how you want to have this match
my
go.
Second match at Grappling
It
Industries.
was, right. But would you have the option to pull guard, play the open guards and sweep and leg locks, or you have the ability to have a good success with takedowns in the top game? Like, which would you choose?
If I was trying to go for the highlight reel here.
But if you really have the choice, like to say, what would I like to do?
And I'm not going to get hurt or hurt them or anything.
Like, it's just more like, this is my display right now of jiu-jitsu.
Of course I'd want to take them down.
So,
of course.
But that's the kind of process to say, if you knew this person was not going to give you that much resistance.
Because I can take them to the ground.
What would you do?
Yeah, I'd go for a single. I like that hook single leg thing. That one's been actually pretty awesome.
That's a really solid one from Jordan.
Once my ankle's done healing, I'm going to start playing with them, wrestling up with that.
So I think it's just having that confidence and that build with the wrestling aspect, because we also saw it with Jordan of just how important it was to go. Like, you saw a couple people sit, but when we start adding in some of the countermeasures with it, like, it was really nullifying a lot of guards. So, but here's the thing: going back to the gi versus no gi, it'd be very difficult to do that if Jordan was in the gi.
Yeah. Yeah, that
right?
make it, because people would just glue themselves.
It would be very interesting to watch Jordan now in the gi.
We should see if we can. Be like, Jordan, we'll pay for your entry fee if we can make some content.
Pure
out
entertainment
of it.
right now.
Yeah, we'll throw you in the gi.
Because honestly, when you throw the gi in there, you have two added things. One is that you have judo's back on the table.
Yeah,
meat's on the table, boys.
Good job.
I threw that in there very quick.
That was good.
I tried.
Good Lord of the Rings reference.
No, it's not on the table. On the menu.
Yeah,
I'm so
Meat's
sorry.
on the menu, boys.
And they all roar.
And then so judo is there, and then you also have the open guards with spider guard and things like that. So it would have been much more difficult for Jordan to manage that because now you're dealing with people who are,
We're at 45 minutes, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean to
good
manage,
stuff.
like he'd have to get out of the literal spider web of a web to get out of someone's position to start passing. So it would have had to have looked a lot more jiu-jitsu-esque. And then plus, if it was judo, if someone was, let's say, really good at judo, that could pose a problem then because you have the upper body twist and the leg throws and things like that. Like it would have looked different. It doesn't mean that Jordan couldn't take somebody down, but if someone says, I don't want to get taken down, so I'm pulling guard into open guards, like that would be interesting.
So I got 2 more rapid fire points for us before we end for the day.
Let's try it.
First of the 2, less laundry, LOL.
That is the best part.
Yeah. NoGi is significantly easier to do laundry on. You can wash a lot of it
You
quickly.
could get even easier, and this is something we would 98% not do here. But there's
Go
some,
naked.
Well, I say there's some gyms that do with just no shirts too. There's some people like you see a lot of time with like B team or something like that too, just pure shirts. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah,
level
I think you would
of it.
actually push away a lot of people with that one.
I'm saying like let's say it was like a private thing where it's like there's 4
You and I
guys
are
or
wrestling
whatever.
shirtless.
Like, no, I'm not.
Actually,
I'm not up to that
you'll
level
have to
yet.
turn to our OnlyFans for that.
Yeah.
Folks.
Stream that.
We need money. If you want to see Levi and I wrestle shirtless,
And
go to
that's-
our OnlyFans.
There's like some live chat thing.
Eventually, maybe we'll do pantsless.
Get in
if
the
we get enough
guard.
people.
Like, all right. Well, they say we have to be in the guard for a while. But you
Oh,
see like
boy.
the money go up, and it's like we're selling our souls a little bit right now.
Oh, that's funny.
But
Yeah.
there's that.
I'm without shame.
But the gi itself, yeah, like you said, like travel and all that. Like that's a huge thing with rash guards and shorts. Oh
You
my
fit
gosh.
it in the size of a can. That
the easiest
that
thing.
Liquid
The
Death can
size
you
of
have
a
right there.
can.
Not sponsored by Liquid Death, but if you're listening and you'd like to,
Liquid
please reach
Death.
out. Even we'll just take free drinks. We're cheap.
Would that be
cheap
amazing
dates.
if you could figure out some like very efficient like
Storing can.
nogi thing? where
And
it's
it like vacuum seals it.
yeah, jiu-jitsu in a can, and it's like literally a rash guard and like on the go.
Yeah,
You
that'd be
just, like,
cool. And we have
have a
vending
can.
machines. Oh, you forgot your gear?
Yeah, I forgot your gear. Order
Here's our
a,
stuff.
and they just top it off like with tennis balls.
Yeah.
and then you can just pop it off and like pop it off, and then it could be like
Actually,
a random thing
Levi.
where it's like you don't know whose rash guard it would be. Like I'm saying, like people could like give rash guards to a company, and we can have like different brands.
How about this? You actually just said a great solution that costs very little. If you're traveling and you're worried about your NoGi stuff stinking up the place, get a tennis ball tube
Yeah,
and just literally put it in the tennis ball tube when you're done training. Seal the top off. You're good to go. TSA probably won't bother you either because it's just like it's just a tennis ball tube.
I was gonna say
Full of stuff.
maybe if someone doesn't want to bring their gi place, that'd be an interesting one. Imagine if you didn't want to bring your gi places, and you could have a service where they'll
Drop a gi off for you.
they'll send the gi to the location,
Here,
and then
yeah.
you wear it, and then
What
you
are
have to send it
I'd like an A2 top and an A3
back.
pants, please.
Yeah,
you
you
know.
have to send back or something. I don't know.
Oh, that'd get gross.
I remember there's a website. It's not honeybee. It's something bee, like the little insect bee. But you can make custom gis with it. Because I know Aaron down the road here that had a custom gi belt, and it was like what you could measure your sleeve, you could measure all these things
Was
and
that
colors on belts.
dried? Because those
Pre-dried?
babies dry when you dry.
Oh
gi,
yeah, I don't know. what
you
that was
got
based.
yourself a baby.
Yeah,
gi.
you don't have to worry about that. Rash guards aren't too
Yeah.
bad. They, I think elasticity sometimes gets lost a little bit.
I don't think so. I've had the same rash guards for years.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the closest thing. If you have like a cheap rash guard, I've
I
seen
did tear the
sometimes.
sleeves off of one of them. It's because it was poorly made, though.
So there's things like that. But yeah, no laundry. I like that. No big laundry.
Last item. There's less.
There's one more point with that.
Okay.
What I do like about gi though, as far as attire, is that if someone has a very slick like white gi or really well taken care of gi, it looks really cool.
It does look nice.
I've seen a couple of people where, like let's say I'm looking at my walls here and people are lined up for a seminar or whatever. Like my friend Jared Coulter had the whitest gis of all time, and I could never recall having his secret of what he did for laundry. Like it was like cloud material.
That's cool.
But versus you see some people who have like the yellow stain. The other gym that's trained at too, like had like the green stain on it because
the
they're
mats were green.
The mats were green. Like you could see, like, I think some other person had a blue one as well. Like they had this blue dye, but yeah, it was like pristine white. And I was like, that looks cool.
I also will say too with the gi, I do like that. I feel like you get less like skin stuff. Not that we have like a problem with that here.
There is a protection of it.
Yeah, if you have a rash
too.
guard on and you're wearing a gi, like you're doing pretty good.
That helps
like,
you. Hey, no belt to tie. Is that
actually
is this your last one?
My last one.
Oh, I was gonna say no belt to tie.
I actually didn't say about the tie, but it was actually more about the less of the belt hierarchy.
Now
hold on before you go.
Okay.
I don't want you to go too crazy on this one. We're already at 50 minutes, and this is a big topic. I know you.
Why'd you put that for last?
One.
You thought we were gonna blast through these other ones?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but no, but yeah, just the fact that when you're on the mats, there's none of that belt hierarchy, and I like that because I think the belt hierarchy is kind of dumb sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm glad Matt gave me a little preface to not go into this one because I agree with it. It was one of the things that I
could see you were getting ready.
Yeah,
you were
like,
charging
up. We're
going to
go full on with this. It was something I didn't really think about that would happen too much, and it wasn't even a process, but it really allowed people to work with people and not have any of the hierarchy nonsense, I should say.
Yeah.
And they're like, no one has to worry about, well, you're a brown belt, so I can't ask you to roll, and then brown belts can only ask me to roll, or this ego to go.
That's what I think of that.
Go, you're a white belt, so I should be able to beat you, or whatever the case may be. Like, there's none of that, and you're not categorizing people, organizing. It's just a bunch of people who enjoy grappling, and we're having fun. It's like the belt board I have up here.
Yeah, I like the belt board. I think it's fun.
It's just kind of giving people's ideas of like where their own personal progress is, and it's kind of fun to share with everybody.
Yeah, it looks cool too.
But guess what? There's not a single person. I think people forget about it until I go over there.
I legitimately forget about it.
Oh yeah, there's a belt board over there. So it's a little bit more of an aesthetic, but it's not like. And another thing I had with it was I purposely made it mosaic-ish. I didn't want to make like you're advancing yourself up, and here's people over here, and this is where you're at.
Just make it a blob.
Yeah, it's just a blob.
The training
Whatever.
blob.
It's like it shows that it's just a blob. Like nobody cares about that kind of stuff. I think if you're brand new to the grappling art, you're not coming in here with these kind of preconceived thought processes already. Like you get some people who had maybe grappling experience in the past or current, and if they want that, that's fine, but they would just have to find it elsewhere. I just feel like this works out pretty well. But the people who are newer and trying it, I never get people saying, "Oh, I really wish we had the belt on. I really wish we had these things." Like nobody really complains about that. So I like that process that it's not really included. People are just grappling. You're more connected with people's skill sets. It's fantastic. There's no ego about it. I know plenty of people that would walk around with their belt and make it seem like they're the king basically, and just like there's this whole quote of ego, like we talked about getting killed in jiu-jitsu. It's like it's such a bunch of bull. It's like there's people who get amplified, like they want to do jiu-jitsu so they can get good, so they can be better than other people in the gym.
That's a zero-sum game, I feel. Because you are not a mortal creature, and eventually age will get you.
They don't think that.
And at some point, some young guy who's got half the rank of you is going to wash the floor with you, and that's just the natural order of things.
But that's huge
It'll
levels.
happen to us, and
if anyone ever experiences that in their gym, it's just huge levels of insecurity. That's all it is. Like if you feel this need and necessity to dominate people and show how great you are, they're the same kind of people that roam everywhere else in life that have to feel this need to show how good they are. Like if you're stable and you're happy with who you are, you're more than welcome to get humbled. I love seeing Jordan would work with people and people would take him down and he'd laugh and go, "That's great." But if Jordan wanted to turn it up at one moment, he's not concerned with someone going, "Oh my gosh, people saw me getting taken down right now. What are they going to think?"
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares
here.
So
I heard a really cool thing on Modern Wisdom on the podcast.
Modern Wisdom?
Yeah, that Chris Williamson podcast.
God, every time I see him, it's like Matt.
Really? Oh,
Matt.
Well, thank you. He seems like a nice guy.
Well, it just seems like I've got your personality, I should say.
I think I get along.
You
would
get along with him really well. Sometimes when you shave your head, I think you could probably look at him.
Yeah, we look very similar there. Yeah. He was interviewing a guy, and he said the three characteristics that make an attractive man or someone to be.
Sure.
One was that you're comfortable in your own skin.
Sure.
2 is you know where you're going.
Oh, I know the third one.
3 is you're having fun on your way there.
Oh, I was going to say throwing knives with swords.
Oh, that's the fourth one. He meant the guy he was interviewing, the psychologist must have missed that fourth one. I just thought that was interesting because when you think about the belt envy thing or the belt belt bravado, like there's obviously there's something else going on there.
Yes.
And it's maybe that they're not comfortable in their own skin, or maybe they don't know where they're going in their life, or whatever.
It's funny you're saying that, and I made that joke, but there were some videos I'd seen not that long ago that was talking about healthy expressions of masculinity in film, and Aragorn was like the top.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's cool.
so-
I think he's awesome.
Well,
I'm gonna get grumpy about that, like
grumpy.
like healthy masculinity.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
Well, it's something where it's
I'm
like
not saying shut up to you. I'm saying shut up to society.
I think the idea that maybe part of it was like for men to be like not emotional, having just to be aggressive and fight all the time, but having someone like Aragorn who was very
he's the full package.
But he was expressing like his
He's
care
also
and love
80.
for his people.
His
He's
character's
87.
80. Yeah, he's ancient.
Can you imagine if you're 87 and moving like he's doing and being so cool? I think he lives until 130 or something like that.
Oh,
140.
nice.
Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, okay, wait, hold on. But when he became king though, he looked older, but I think it was just because he grew a beard.
Well, also in the book, there's actually massive amounts of time that they don't talk about in the movie. Frodo had the ring for 20 years before he went on the quest.
I think I remember hearing a video about that. I can't remember the book as much as I do with the movies, but
I can tell you more about it later.
there we go. Listen to our Lord of the Rings podcast.
So Levi, where can people find us?
thegrapplingpodcast.com.
Yeah, you heard that, folks.
And then
Eventually
we
we'll be
keep
on
talking
video
about
and stickers.
the two bards.
And the two bards. We'll do that eventually.
Hey,
Levi and I were thinking about doing reviews of moves we see online and deciding whether we certify them thumbs up, we would use them.
Now, this is a good opportunity. Shout out to all the Theory members that listen to the podcast. This is for you guys. I've heard a couple people here that said they're picking up the podcast. One person told me last night they were listening to our Jordan podcast or Jordan episode and all that. So, but if anyone here at Theory or anybody else finds a video online that says, hey, I'm curious about this technique, whether it's efficient or not, Matt and I will play with it. We're definitely not going to shoot down anybody's expressions of what they want to do with jiu-jitsu, but we'll kind of give you our opinion of like, is this something we would utilize in our game?
Yeah, that's it. We don't know everything. We'll just tell you whether we'd use it or not.
I wish. Would jiu-jitsu be fun if you knew it all?
Nope. That's why I actually think like implant chips in your brain. I'm pretty no tech with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I understand the value of being a supercomputer in your head and a benefit of that.
Cyborg.
I don't think it would be fun. I'd be one of those weirdos living in like a society that was like, we just decided not to use it. Like we're just hanging out and just accepting life as it comes.
It's not bad. It's not a bad thing either.
Okay.
All right, cool guys. We will see you later.